Should be
It's
okay.
okay.
Okay. Hi, friends watching. Can you let us know if you could see and hear us? There's two of us here. And we're just getting set up with all of the streams in all of the places. So let us know you can hear us. And okay, I see you. You see me. It's all
Get out of
good.
the sun.
Okay, everybody. So, welcome to Mom Cave Live, where we may have lost our minds, but we haven't lost our sense of humor. I'm Jen, and my guest tonight doesn't feel like night yet. It's still light out. My
Same.
guest
Yep.
is Meredith Ethington. You may know Meredith as Perfection Pending, and she has a new book out called The Mother Load. And we're
I
talking
do.
LOAD, not
Yes.
LOD.
Correct.
Yeah. What's the book about, Meredith?
So it's about what you would expect it would be about with the title. I
Load.
cover everything from the heaviness of the mental load that all moms carry to mental illness. I talk about toxic positivity in there and how that's harmful to us as moms. And
Mm-hmm.
also just all the expectations that society puts on us as moms and how
Yes.
harmful that can be. So it's kind of divided up into those 4 sections where I kind of tackle it all.
That's awesome. Okay, so
Yeah.
everybody watching, we're going to give away a copy.
Yeah.
And so we'll give it away to somebody who comments. And we'll also, I'll put up the link for the book. And the first 5 people that order, Meredith is going to sign one. Did I?
I'm going to send a signed book plate, which is like
Nice.
you can stick it in your
Like your
book.
autograph, man.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
It's awesome. Okay. Good. So, well, first of all, we've talked before and see, I'm a mess.
Don't
Clearly.
worry.
Clearly, I
Embrace the
was a mess
mess.
before becoming a mother, but becoming a mother just intensifies all of the mess. And that's,
Absolutely.
yeah. I have always loved your blog. I guess it started out as your blog name,
Yeah. Yeah.
Action Pending. Yeah.
Y- Yeah, so I think I gave it that name because I am a recovering perfectionist.
Hmm.
I have always kind of had that type A personality, trying high achiever kind of kid growing up,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to do everything just right, obey all the
Right.
rules. I was kind of that
Mm-hmm.
kid.
Yeah.
And that did really well in some areas of my life,
Mm-hmm.
with going to college and moving out of my house and being independent. But where it kind of started to rear its ugly head was when I became a mom. When I
Mm-hmm.
became a parent, realizing that there is no such thing as perfection
No.
in parenting or really in anything that we try to do as human beings because we're flawed and imperfect. But specifically in parenting, it was like just putting a spotlight on that idea that, like, I can't do
Oh.
this, right? Like,
Yeah.
at least I can't do it perfectly. I shouldn't say I
Mm-hmm.
can't do this because I was doing
Well,
it,
you're doing
and
it. You're doing
yeah,
it right now.
and 16 years later, I'm still doing it, right?
Wow,
So,
16 years.
yeah, my oldest, actually, she'll be 17 next month, so I've been doing it a long time now.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Congrats.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that a lot of us have that sort of like growing up wanting to please and be a good girl and not get into trouble, get straight A's, do all the things.
Mhm.
And that like it looks good from the outside, right? But that is a lot of pressure to feel on the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is stressful, and when you add in, like, trying your focus totally goes towards trying to do everything right for your kids. Like, I think the intention is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to be the best parents we can be because we don't wanna screw up our kids, right? But I think it can be damaging to our mental health if we're not careful, because what happens is we put so much focus on them, we forget to even think about ourselves and what we might need.
Mm-hmm. And in them like when before we had kids, we could study and we could follow like here are the rules, here are the steps, here's the book, here's what you do. And we try that as moms. And even if you read every parenting book, first of all, you go insane because they all say different things. But no book is about your kid and you. Like nothing is individualized enough to tell you what to do all the time, right?
Exactly, and you can make yourself crazy reading all the books. I mean, with my first kid, I was totally one that wanted to read like What to Expect, so I knew
Mhm.
exactly what was going to happen every week in pregnancy, and I wanted to do
Right.
things like just right. But like you said, there's nothing that's going to tell you every single scenario that
Mhm.
is going to happen in your life as a parent. I've had commenters on my Instagram page say to me, "Well, why are you complaining? You knew what you were getting into when you had kids." And I hate that
That's a
because
common
no,
thing.
no one knows what
Yeah.
they're getting
No, you
into.
didn't. You don't know.
Because even someone that maybe grew up with 12 younger siblings and saw their mom do it, when they become a parent, it's gonna be a totally different experience than what
Right.
their parent went through.
So many
So,
reasons.
even if you babysat a 10, come on, that's not experience
You
for
get to go
parenting.
home and give them back, and people give you money, so that is totally
Right.
different.
Or even if you're a dog mom, that is not preparing you for parenting.
I do
I'm
not
a
like
dog
that.
mom, I love my dog, she is my 4th child. However,
Mhm.
I can put her in a cage if I need to.
I
And so
know.
I can't
I wish that was okay sometimes, but it's
right, I
not.
can't do that with my human children.
Right, it's just not allowed.
So, yeah, I mean, we've gotta be careful about what voices we're listening to, what experts we are reading in books, because ultimately we are the best judge of what we need to do as parents, and the best kind of parents we are going to be here for our kids because we know them best.
Yeah, yeah, we're the ones that know them best. If you're just joining us, this is Meredith Effington, who has written a new book called The Mother Load, and she's giving away a copy to somebody who comments. Let me
I
put up
am.
here. Let me
So
pick
tell
my
us where you are,
yeah,
where
tell
you're
us where you are
yeah,
and
I have a copy, but it's
there
out
we
of
go.
reach and the whole setup
Okay.
might fall over, so I'm not gonna grab it.
Well, I think I just sent it to the comments, but we'll see. It's
Okay.
also it's linked in the description on Facebook, but we're on all the places, so you never
Yeah. Yeah.
we're on every platform. We can do that. Um,
That's awesome.
okay, so we know the problem, right? We know the problem that we try to be perfect and that we're overloaded, blah blah blah. Like I sound great. I'm like blah blah blah. My
You're
life.
like, "We've heard this story."
We've heard the story. Help. What can
Yeah.
we do? What can we do?
So I talk a lot about self-care in my book, which is funny to me because when I first became a mom, I had like zero self-care, and it took me a long time to
Mhm.
realize that it actually was really, really important. And, I think we kind of, as moms, we kind of roll our eyes at self care because we're like, oh, that's one more thing I have to do.
And
And
it's
I'm already,
selfish, it's expensive, all the reasons.
right, right. And I really encourage moms to try to figure out what their self-care really is and not to shortchange themselves. A lot of times we want to say like taking a shower is my self-care. I'm like, no,
No, that's
that's
just
like a
basic
basic,
hygiene.
yeah, that's like basic hygiene, basic human right. Come on, like
Mhm,
you
mhm.
should be able to take a shower whenever you want to take a shower. Well, not
Right.
maybe whenever you want if you've got a newborn or something, but that should be your right as a
Mhm,
human being to have a
mhm.
hot shower and to sit down and eat a meal for a minute. And so often we kind of try to count those things as self care when in reality they're not.
No.
So we've got to find something that refuels us and rejuvenates us and makes us feel alive, I think,
Mhm,
because
mhm.
we were humans before we became moms. And after our kids leave the nest, we are going to sit there and be like, who was I? At
Right.
least that would have been my experience a few years ago because I wasn't prioritizing anything that I cared about
Mhm.
whatsoever.
Wow.
Instead, I was just kind of floating along and hoping one day I
Hoping
would
for the best.
figure it out. I
No,
don't know.
I mean, we know you have writing, so that's something
Mhm.
that you do. What other kinds of things do you do?
Well, I'm currently in school right now getting my master's
Oh,
degree. So
amazing. Congrats.
that is a brand new thing that I got my undergrad degree in psychology. So I've always been interested in mental health. And that my original plan back in my 20s was to go to grad school, and I didn't do it because I put my husband through grad school and I had kids, and I kind of just thought, oh, maybe that's not that important. But in the past couple years, especially with the pandemic, it has been like eating away at me. Like, you need to go back to school and you need to do this thing. And I told
Wow.
myself no for a long time
Mhm,
because I thought, oh, I made all the excuses. It's too much
mhm.
money, and it's too much time. And how are my kids going to survive if I suddenly start working outside of the home. So writing was this great thing for me because it was flexible and I could do it
Right.
from home, and it made, some money. But really what I'm passionate about is helping mothers understand how important it is to take care of their mental health. And that's kind of how this book was born. Um, I wrote it during the pandemic. I wrote it during a really dark time
Yeah, for everyone, for the
for
world.
everyone, for sure. Like somebody was crying in my house every day. It was usually me. It was
Mhm,
very
mhm.
stressful in the beginning of the pandemic. And I had written about mental health a long time. I had been writing about it for years, but I realized that that's what really moms really resonated with, were all my posts that shared kind of like the darker sides of how we sometimes feel
Yeah,
parenting, and shedding light on that and giving hope that it can get better. And so that's where the Mother Load kind of came about. Is I wrote it during this dark time. It was kind of dark in its first version. It morphed into something beautiful and hopeful, which is that we can all make mental health a priority, even
mhm.
busy moms. It is possible. And it's perfect time to be talking about this because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So
Is it? I did not know. I
it
was not
is.
aware enough, apparently. Um,
Well, now you know.
too busy trying to, keep my mental health. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's the part of it, though, that's like, also, there's sometimes you feel kind of shameful to be the one that says, "Oh, it's not, I have a great life. I've these healthy kids and a husband, and I live in a house, and we have food to
Mhm.
eat." And so why am I feeling like this? And
Mhm.
how embarrassing to admit to others that I do. Like, do
Yeah.
you have that? Do you struggle with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think if we look at the world as a whole, we can go, okay, like my worries are not that important. My suffering is nothing compared to the suffering of someone else. However, my argument against that is this is not the suffering Olympics. That's not that's not what humanity is about.
Right.
And I talk a lot about empathy in my book and how important it is to just show up for people no matter what their circumstances are, and be empathetic, and show them that you can sit with them in that dark time and they're okay to feel that way. And maybe all you can do is just sit with them, and maybe you can't do anything more than that. But we all have problems and we all have struggles. And for
Definitely.
me, I have been shamed about talking about some of this stuff,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel good when that happens. Although I will say I've been writing long enough that I've built up a pretty thick skin at this point.
Mhm.
So it
Good.
doesn't get under my skin like it used to. Um However, I mean, I do recognize that I have privileges that other people don't have. I have material things that other people don't have. I have a lot of good things going for me. But even wealthy, rich, um privileged people get depressed.
Have you
And
seen What the White Lotus?
yeah, no, I have not
I'm just starting, but this is the whole thing we keep saying. You know what? They're really wealthy and they're really sad. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, we could go down that whole path too, for sure. Like, think of all the famous people that have, died by suicide because
mhm.
they were so depressed, and silencing it and not speaking about it. And so for me, over the years, speaking about it has given me the freedom to kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And now that's not for everybody. I mean, I know that we can't all, not all of us feel comfortable speaking about our mental illness on social
Mhm.
media. Like, it's a vulnerable thing. But we can speak about it to people that are close to
Of
us. We
course. Yeah.
can share with a friend, share with our partner. We can talk to someone and say, look, I'm not feeling like myself. What are you seeing from the outside? We can get therapy. There are so many ways that we can reach out to our network and speak about things that we're struggling with. And yeah, there will be people out there that will shame us, and there will be people that be like, they'll do the whole silver lining thing. Well, at
Mhm.
least X, Y, or Z.
Right.
And I hate that because really what most people need is connection, and they need to be heard. That's
Mhm.
really it. It boils down to kind of those 2 things. I'm a big fan of Brené Brown, so I'm stealing that idea from her.
Okay.
But I mean, it's true, like, when you think about it, when you feel heard, whether it's by your partner or a friend or whatever, you feel so much better afterwards.
Yeah.
And so being able to talk about these hard things and the things we struggle with in parenting is a way for us to kind of, like, just let it go
Mhm.
and feel validated and feel like somebody understands us, feel less alone.
Yeah, yeah. I think the women I've become most close with are the women where we've just said, "Okay, I'm a mess today," or
Yeah,
"I can't. I'm sorry. I said I was gonna bring the paper plates to the class party, and I couldn't even get that together, and
yeah.
I feel stupid." And then everyone's like, "It's fine. Let's,
Yeah, and because
bond,
people
the
I
bond."
think most people are going to come from a place of non-judgment and embrace you because they have flaws and imperfections, and if they don't, they're not your people,
No, no, we
you
don't
know?
need those people.
Yeah,
Definitely not.
exactly.
So if anyone has a question for Meredith, leave it in the comments, and
Yeah,
someone's going to win a copy of the book. I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm gonna ask you some silly questions now
okay,
real quick.
I love
Um,
it.
what is the one item every mom should carry in her purse?
Oh. The first thing that came to my head was hand sanitizer.
That's a yeah, it's pretty germy out there.
I mean, I am a germaphobe. I was a germaphobe before COVID, so that's just me. But I would say some sort of like hand sanitizer or wipe.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
Because
definitely.
even big kids need wipes.
Even big kids, my son's almost 13, and they had their first school dance last Friday, but
Mhm.
they also had a baseball game directly before the dance, and I made sure to bring the wipes.
Yep.
And all the 13-year-olds were very appreciative that even though
Yeah.
they weren't babies, we had wipes because they were smelly
Yeah,
boys.
you get sticky hands no matter how old you are.
Yeah, good for so many things.
So many things.
Um, do you have a favorite book that other than your own, of course,
No, I
because
wouldn't call
you
my own
raised
my
it.
favorite anyway, although you should all buy it for
Definitely buy it,
sure.
definitely. Go onto Amazon, the link's in the
Oh.
description.
Gosh, a favorite book, that's hard for me because I love books and I love to read, and yet I don't read very often because I right now, here's my current page turner that I'm reading, which
Oh,
is
wow.
a
That
school book, you know?
that is definitely gonna
Th
keep me away.
this and counseling theories, those are the books I'm
Mhm,
reading right now.
mhm.
Um, I love memoirs. Memoirs are,
Oh, yeah? What's a
really
good
great.
memoir you've read?
Oh, well, I mean, I love Educated, The Glass Castle, books like that, or I just read one called Loose Cannons. That's a new one that probably a lot of people haven't heard about. That's really good. Um, but probably my favorite book, if I had to pick one, I would say, and it's kind of an obscure one that maybe a lot of people don't know about, is I Know This Much Is True by Wally Lamb. Do you
Yes, I
know that book?
love that book. You know what?
Yeah.
It's so long ago that I don't really remember much of what it was about, but I remember
Yeah.
loving it.
It's also about mental health, oddly enough. So it's about 2
Yes.
brothers, 2 twin brothers, where one is schizophrenic and one is not, and kind of this one brother's journey towards, like, understanding his family dynamics and stuff. It's a big, huge book. Don't be intimidated by it
Yes,
because
very
it's
thick.
it's so, so good. So that's probably one of my favorites and one that I've read multiple times. Yeah,
Oh, wow, multiple times. Now, I
yeah.
have started to read things multiple times and realized as I'm, like, halfway through the first chapter, I've read this book before
And so
and
you just ditch it at
totally
that point.
forgot. Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
how I can read I'm the same way with movies. I'm like, "Have I seen this before? Can't remember," and then I'll watch it, I'm like, "I have," but then I forget how
But
it
you don't know
ended,
what's gonna
so
happen.
yeah, so I'll
Totally.
just watch it again, so
That's
our
it.
brains are too full,
Right, so
right?
we have this load, and let me bring it back on the screen, the mother load, as we're talking about, which is Meredith's new book, which you can find on Amazon. Yeah, it's about all of these things, and I
Mhm,
just wanna encourage everybody to read it and to if you don't have moms in your life that you can be, real with, like we are right here,
mhm.
then there is something to be said for an online network of friends because
Absolutely.
you can make friends with people that are far away that you've never even met, develop friendships, things you have in common. We've both done it. And
Yeah, it's the best.
it'll
I
help
mean,
you.
I say sometimes, like, my best friends live on the internet, but
Mhm.
they don't. They're real people, and I've met them in
They
real
live
life.
somewhere.
Yeah, and I spend time with them, and it's been just like this beautiful friendship, and it takes effort and takes travel sometimes, and that's not easy for everyone, but I would encourage, and I talk about this in my book too, like finding your people, finding that network of that can be your kind of, whether it's just somebody to vent to
Right.
or someone you can watch that can watch your kids and you can swap, you know, childcare with. That's the dream, right?
Lovely
Yeah,
fantasy.
but, yeah, just finding people that understand you and get you. It's so much easier now with the internet, like, you
Mhm.
really can.
Right.
So if you're in your little house or wherever feeling alone and sad and like you don't have a friend, that I trust me, there's someone else that feels that way too, and there's someone out there that you can be friends with.
Totally. And that's what I wanted Mom Cave to be all about when I, first started it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're all here for each other. I hope that you all will go and get this book because it's awesome and it will make you feel better about life, even if you just read it like 30 seconds at a time on the toilet. Because
Yeah, it's actually broken up in a way
oh,
that makes it
perfect.
really digestible that way.
Digestible, no pun intended.
Yes.
It's good toilet
I
reading.
missed that. I missed that.
Oh, see, great.
Love that.
Yes, so check it out, everybody. And oh, there goes the earbud again. Thank you so much. Yeah, get Meredith's book. Check her out,
Awesome. Thanks so much
perfectionism.com.
for having me.
Of course, great talking with you.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.